This week, we are going deeper into pleasure, into the pleasure that is experienced through our relationships. So, yes, this is our sensual and sexual expression, and it is so much more. I can't wait to share all this with you. So, let's get started.
Welcome to the I'm Perfectly Divine podcast, a place for the strong, sensitive, spiritual seeker to recognize the perfection of your human journey as a pathway to remembering your divinity. It is to bridge both the emotional and spiritual worlds through proven and grounded frameworks that support you to live in the wholeness you already are. For over the past 2 decades, I have supported people from all around the world, as well as Fortune 500 companies, to dissolve the divisions within them and live with greater empowerment and love. This podcast is an exploration of the paradoxes that befuddle us as we live our lives being both human and divine. Together, you and I, along with other experts, will navigate integrating psychology and spirituality, the divine feminine and the divine masculine, the darkness and the light, to create greater sacred union from within. I believe through your remembering that you are innately divine, that you will allow yourself to more openly shine. So let's get to it, because your unique light is needed more than ever.
Welcome to I'm Perfectly Divine podcast. So last week we were talking about pleasure, and yet I didn't get into our sensual, sexual pleasure because I believe it deserves its own episode, its own deliciousness. But the way I'm going to approach this week is probably going to be a bit different than what you would expect. Because to me, there is no separation between the pleasure that we experience within our bodies and the pleasure of our souls and the spiritual aspect that brings us deep fulfillment. And so, how I want to go about this episode is discussing a spiritual understanding of love that's called the fifth way of love. And I really believe that there is a whole other level of pleasure that can be experienced within a relationship that goes beyond oneself. And that's what this fifth way love is all about. It's very unique, and I don't feel like it is talked about in its entirety. And I really just recently learned about the concept. Well, I learned about the concept many years ago, but I more recently have delved more deeply into it. And this concept of fifth way love was really more developed by author Cynthia Bourgeault. And she is the author of The Meaning of Mary Magdalene, where she goes into this. Now, this is not a concept that she created on her own. She learned it from a 20th century Russian esoteric who speaks about this in his book called Gnosis. So I think there is great wisdom that has been coming through about this fifth way love. And today I want to make it more practical and how we can understand it as an integration of deep, deep pleasure. So, how Bourgeault defines fifth way love, it's a path of an intense spiritual fusion between two beloveds where they achieve total self-abandonment. And this only happens when we transcend the ego. And that is when we are able to melt into what she calls a single soul. And I feel it, or would think of it more as its own energy field, which I'll get into more. So this melting is what creates then a unitive consciousness, and also what I believe is a unique and transformative type of pleasure. And that to me is the best pleasure that's transformative, because it's speaking to us on both a human level and a divine level that's accessing the divine within us. So we already know that when we orgasm, we're already screaming, oh my goddess, what have you. We are in that state of pleasure that we know there is some sort of divine connection. And yet how she is guiding us to know this union. So we get to that orgasmic state. There is this energy that transpires between people. But she is talking about a cosmic state that happens through kenotic love. And so that's what I want to delve into. So, um, so that's what I want to delve into. What is kenotic love? And kenotic love is based on kenosis, which is a self-emptying of yourself, meaning everything that we talk about on this podcast, where we are emptying our vessel on an energetic, psychological, spiritual level of our egos in order to allow in more love. That's kenosis. And so what I appreciate how she defines fifth way love is that it's not just kenosis, though. There is a deepening that we want to access in this field of love, where we also use eros or passion. So there's a desire for one another that can be about the physical, but there can be a deeper desire as well on a spiritual level, a desire for spiritual transcendence. Now, we might not talk about this, but this is where when you unite with a soulmate partner or someone that you're drawn to, it's because there is this sense that the two of you will support each other in one another's growth and ultimately to transcendence. And so I want to speak about how this can be both healthy and when we unintentionally get ourselves into unhealthy expressions. Now, I've studied Tantra, which is, this transcendence through sex, through the pleasure of sex. And of course, I've studied numerous ways, spiritually and psychologically, that we devote ourselves to our transcendence, to our evolution, in order that we may spiritually grow and evolve. So, what I appreciate about the fifth way of love is it's both are expressions and both are important, which just seems very real to me, especially when we are talking about again, how we are mind, body, spirit. And by mind, it really is not just thought, but our psychology of self, and how we, in order to seek pleasure, we've got to go beyond our versions of self that our ego tells us that we are. So if we break this down a bit more, the fifth dimension of love is uniting two worlds, two, people energies into one love. And to get there, both partners are going to be called to go beyond their ego self-concept into deeper presence. Now, I love this because, as I stated in last week's episode, deeper presence is going to bring us greater pleasure in and of itself, right? It takes us out of our minds and into the beauty of what is right in front of us. It awakens our senses and tunes us into beauty, which is what lights up our hearts. So it's beyond just the visual, although the visual can be very sensual to us, especially what awakens us to remember love within and around us. So it's both slowing down in order to receive and be present with the felt sense of another and with the beauty of another and what that does to your heart and to one another's hearts. And so bringing presence together with sex right there is going to make it much more pleasurable, right? Because we are slowed down, we are out of our mind, and we're allowing ourselves to sense. But the other state of devotion that is about emptying ourselves can heighten our pleasure in a way that is beyond our senses. And that's what's so powerful. But it's often trickier and challenging to get there. It's tricky because our egos love to convince us that we already are empty. We already are ego free. And this is exactly why we have a partner to support us, to see through their eyes, to see another perspective where maybe our ego isn't, maybe we aren't as ego free as we think we are, as our ego tries to convince us that we are. So that's the beauty right there of relationship and of intimacy and true intimacy. So, how I see couples utilizing this fifth way path is a way for two souls to come together, to hold one another, to really be accountable, to experience a love that is beyond the two of them. And what makes intimacy within couples so unique is the potential for intimacy is to allow someone to really see into you. And this can only happen if both of you, both people involved want that level of intimacy. So I can't state that enough. Because one person may not want to go there with you. They may be scared of it. Because the whole point of this type of intimacy is to hold one another accountable. So that each person stands in their eternal image, that image that is our divine blueprint that never dies. So it's not the human self that we think of ourselves as, the narrative of our identities tied to our personalities. That's not what this is about. This is the eternal self that carries on after death. So what can happen is one part of the couple, quote unquote, will see the potential in their partner. I'm seeing their potential. And what you are sensing is their eternal self, which is beautiful. But that does not mean that they are willing to allow that aspect of themselves to be seen with you. And that's their choice. So if they don't want to share their eternal image with you, it is not supposed to be your role to force anyone to share that with you. So it's really like, why would you want to? Because it's going to set you both up for struggle, right? So the reason we fall into these types of relationships is that we are still learning / remembering the love that you as an individual are. And knowing the love you are is vital to fifth way love. We can't skip over it. So the one expressing the divine masculine needs to know this love because they are going to hold this energy with physical presence. And they need to be able to know that within themselves. And the one expressing the divine feminine holds energy with energetic presence. And they need to know and honor that type of love within themselves. And so the two fields, when one knows oneself, are supporting one another as a substitute love, as the unique way that you hold this presence actually supports the other to remember and ultimately embody the love that they truly are as a completed human. So let me be clear about a few things. This is not the tit for tat kind of love. And you can't see the love of someone energetically holding someone. It is purely felt, like at its core. And when you have that type of love, there is a deep trust that is irreplaceable. So there is a challenge to this type of love, but it is not constant bickering or upheaval, because this love is balanced with compassion and trust. And this compassion and trust is huge because it provides the foundation for the other person to show up as encourage, as that next expression of the divine wanting to work through you or your partner. So it's very sacred. Now, what I love about the book, In the Meaning of Mary Magdalene by Bourgeault, she believes that this unit of love was expressed between Jesus or Yeshua and Mary Magdalene. And this is why she believes Mary Magdalene was the one who saw Jesus after he rose again. And she was entrusted. He entrusted her to go tell everyone else the good news. So there was this trust that she would be the one that could see him because she was empty, to be able to share the good news without distortion. So very powerful. I also believe she was his substituted love when he was on the cross, and she remained with him even though her sense of safety was threatened. And she did not care. She stayed with him. She knew his need was greater at that moment because he felt forgotten by the divine, forgotten by God. And she knew she would be the substitute love to him and give that to him as courage, because she knew the miracle he was about to demonstrate. She's just, I don't know if you can feel into that. I feel that, and it's like, whew, it's so powerful. And they're not just these holy reminders for us. They're demonstrating this to us, that we can create this as well. So on the outside, what looks like as choice and the fifth way path, this substitute love might look like great sacrifice, but on the inside, it's like a non-issue. It's like matter of fact, like there's simply no other option, because this is all that you could comprehend, because you are one with your beloved and their pain is your pain and vice versa. So it's like breathing. There's an ease to how this love is expressed. There's an inhale and an exhale flowing through one another. You naturally want to give this to your soulmate because that person is an expression of the unity, of love, of the divine that you get to experience in human form. So hopefully this makes sense compared to what happens when the ego is involved. You know, the ego is always looking for fairness on the external. The ego literally cannot perceive the energetic field of holding or witnessing, exactly because it cannot be physically seen. You can't mark it off a chore chart, right? So, I get it, the chore chart or whatever, the sharing of responsibilities is important. I believe in the both and approach. We are human with human responsibilities and needs. Someone needs to take out the garbage and do the dishes, make dinner, clean up, all that good stuff. It's just recognizing that love is meant to honor the physical components and the energetic. And the energetic can't be seen, but it is so vital. I mean, it's more important than the physical. And because it's deeply, deeply felt between both partners. So again, to get there, you must know the love you are. Not perfectly, not wholly, but enough that you don't need your partner to do the convincing for you to know the love that you are, or to do the work for you to know that the love that you are. That's not their job. You came here to know the love that you are, and you know, you've been there. If you're like me, trying to prove that you are lovable in a relationship, and that didn't get you anywhere, doesn't get you the type of love that you desire. So we're beyond trying to prove that I'm lovable, right? In a relationship. So when you know the love you are, it's a coming together with partners not looking to one another to complete them. That whole complete me thing is not is not the fifth way, because each person wants to be completed within themselves and takes responsibility for their own human completeness. What you do desire as a couple is to create a unitive field. And that unitive field is beyond what your individual self-love could create on its own. It's something bigger and beyond the two of you. And so that inner desire may not even be conscious, but it draws the two of you to continue the practice to self-empty. And we do this by being willing to call ourselves out from the ways we aren't in integrity with our hearts. And because our partner knows your eternal self on a heartfelt level, they know you without your name. They naturally become your ally in supporting you to remember. There's also this unspoken agreement that allows for vulnerability and trust between you and your partner to tell you in the most loving way possible when you are in your ego. But that trust is earned. It is not a given. It's understanding your partner's soul as so precious to you that you honor both the innocence within them that was taken and distorted because of some life experiences, and simultaneously knowing and holding their true self, holding them to express their true self. But again, let me be clear, this is not trying to fix them. It's each person's individual job to remember who the heck we are, and vice versa, right? You've got to do it for yourself. They've got to do it for themselves. And you are mirrors to the love within each other, or the spaces you haven't owned the love you are fully. And it can only be created through a commitment to one another that goes beyond oneself. And that to me is one of the most powerful pieces, because we're going beyond our individual preferences. So this is why it's, when one person wants to get married and another doesn't, it's like, are we really in this place of where we're going beyond ourselves for both for both, right? But I think it's really indicative of where we can both self-empty and surrender notions of what we think we need in order to be safe rather than to create safety within. And that, to me, is a big component of being able to earn the trust between one another. So I think this is also what is meant in by the bridal chamber in the Bible. They talk about this, which seems weird to people, but it's really about this self-emptying love that is filled with passion, this passion to know and love one another completely, including this eternal aspect of one another, to know and experience that because you know your partner came here to express that. This passion then pours forth in a unitive field that you co-create to expand the field of love. And you're expanding this field of love both cosmically, like in the liminal space, and through your human devotion to one another. And the reason this is so freaking pleasurable is because this love can come forward freely as the divine intended, without fears getting in the way. And then when expressed in the physical realm, it like creates these lightning bolts of pleasure that rock both the liminal and the corporal fields to deeper awakening and potentials. It's just like, that sense of it rocks your world, but it's not just this human, the physical realm. It's the liminal realm, the field of possibility and potential as well. So yeah, that's pleasurable, right? Because now you're in your creative life force energy as well, and the power that each of you came here to be, and it's being expressed simultaneously in both fields. So this is a transfigured love that goes beyond the two of you, but is recognized in one another's hearts. So it's like the Vesica Pisces, where it's an intertwining, it's a coming together that we are working to do within ourselves. And when we are working in this fifth way, love can create with one another. So it's when you know without a doubt that the person you have become is because of the energy your soulmate held for you in your true image, and vice versa. You did the same for your person. And there's no other way that that expression could have become as fully recognized. And so while it isn't tit for tat, it is balanced. It's like breathing. There's a flow of an inhale to an exhale, of giving to receiving, that naturally flows between one another. It's certainly not one person just holding all this for the other. So the reason why that's so important is because what's created then is an ease in one's being and in one's soul that is so pleasurable because it's so freed. And it's known and it's seen within yourself and within another, and now within a field of energy that the two of you have created. So it all begins with you remembering and owning the love that you are, because when you know and truly know in your heart the love you are, you will call forward someone who is capable of being able to meet you on this path to accelerate the love you are meant to express. Like you just won't be able to settle for anything less because you know the love that you are. And that person will know the love that they are, and they will want that within their partner. So the fifth way love recognizes one another as sacred treasure, treasure that you are to each other. As you support one another to awaken to where you have fallen asleep in this lifetime and to resurrect in this lifetime to be the love you both came here to be. This is deeply pleasurable because what you're experiencing is an overflow of the unique expression of your unitive field of love that is felt within you and all around, though, your world and those around you and all who your love touches in ways that cannot always be seen, but will be remembered. So I hope this supports you. I thank you for being with me and going deeper into this concept of pleasure and taking it spiritually and really recognizing how fulfilling it can be, where it's asking us this continued practice of self-emptying. We don't have to be perfect. We do want to claim the love and know the love that we are, and that will really support us to not turn to relationships in ways where it gets unhealthy, or we unconsciously create that tit for tat stuff that drives one another crazy. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. You can always email me at support@michelleburcell.com. I'm happy to answer any questions regarding this. And until next time, know that there is nothing to fix, only to remember, and remember the choice of pleasure within you and within your relationships. I'll see you next time.
I am so honored you have joined me today. If you enjoyed the I'm Perfectly Divine podcast, subscribe so you don't miss any of our power-filled episodes. Also, if you know another who is strong, sensitive, and spiritual, and wants to dive deeper into emotions and ancient wisdom so they too can create profound peace and fulfillment from within, please share this podcast. Thank you again for joining me, and I look forward to reconnecting with you soon.